Hello. Hi there. I'm going to put on my reading glasses. My name's Bruce. This is my YouTube channel, my outlet to the world. I hope that you've been enjoying the videos, and sometimes I take a little bit of a deviation from my stated plan and embark on something for a change. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a person, I'm going to talk about an idea, I'm going to talk about something about right now. The idea and the person I'm going to talk about is Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas, I think, was a Welsh poet. I'm not 100% on that fact, but I know he has a few poems. Fern Hill is one of them. Another one is Do Not Go Gentle Into That Night. And another one is A Child's Christmas in Wales. Now, on that, I'm going to mention another person. It's my dad. So my father says to me one time, he says, you know, if you live a good life, you have if you live a good life, you get to live it twice. The first time's in the living, and the second time is in the sitting around and the thinking about it. That's paraphrasing, but really that's it. It's upon the reflection. Okay. So I have this story. It's called A Child's Christmas in Wales, which is not about Wales, really. It's not about Christmas, really, but it's lovely. Okay, and what it is it's what it is about to me. And you can correct me. You can say what you want. If you have a different regard here, please share it. But what it's about is this idea of taking a step back through time and the retrospective arrangement of your life and all the things that cascade and happen and careen around inside your mind in a quiet moment, or when we get a bit older and we can look back on things, and it's rather nice. But we have this right here. It's a Child's Christmas in Wales. This is a lovely version. I think it's a nice book. It's not very big, but I'll do a little bit here. One Christmas was so much like another in those years around the sea town corner now, and out of all sound except the distant speaking of the voices. I sometimes hear a moment before sleep that I can never remember, whether it snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12, or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6. All the Christmases rolled down the two-tongued sea like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street, and they stop at the rim of the ice-edged fish-freezing waves, and I plunge my hands into the snow and bring out whatever I can find. I plunge my hand into the snow and bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand into that wool-white, bell-tongued ball of holidays resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea, and out come Mrs. Prothero and the firemen. It was on the afternoon of the day of Christmas Eve, and I was in Mrs. Prothero's garden waiting for cats with her son Jim. It was snowing. It was always snowing at Christmas. December in my memory is white as Lapland, though there were no reindeers, but there were cats. Patient, cold, and callous, our hands wrapped in socks, we waited to snowball the cats. Sleek and long as jaguars, and horrible whiskered, spitting and snarling, they would sink and slink and sidle over the white-backed garden walls, and the lynx-eyed hunters Jim and I, fur-capped and moccasined trappers from Hudson Bay off Mumbles Road, would hurl our deadly snowballs at the green of their eyes. The wise cats never appeared. We were so still, Eskimo-footed Arctic marksmen, in the muffling silence of the eternal snows, eternal ever since Wednesday, that we never heard Mrs. Prothero's first cry from her igloo at the bottom of the garden, or, if we heard it at all, it was, to us, like the far-off challenge of our enemy and prey, the neighbor's polar cat. But soon the voice grew louder. "Fire!" cried Mrs. Prothero, and she beat the dinner gong. And we ran down the garden with the snowballs in our arms toward the house, and smoke, indeed, was pouring out of the dining room, and the gong was bombulating, and Mrs. Prothero was announcing ruin like a town crier in Pompeii. This was better than all the cats in Wales, standing on the wall in a row. We bounded into the house, laden with snowballs, and stopped at the open door of the smoke-filled room. Something was burning, all right. Perhaps it was Mr. Prothero, who always slept there after midday dinner with a newspaper over his face. But he was standing in the middle of the room, saying, "A fine Christmas," and smacking at the smoke with his slipper. "Call the fire brigade," cried Mrs. Prothero as she beat the gong. "They won't be here," Mr. Prothero said. "It's Christmas." There was no fire to be seen, only clouds of smoke, and Mr. Prothero standing in the middle of them, waving his slipper as though he were conducting. "Do something," he said, and we threw all of our snowballs into the smoke. I think we missed Mr. Prothero, and ran out of the house to the telephone box. "Let's call the police as well," said Jim, "and the ambulance, and Ernie Jenkins. He likes fires." But we only called the fire brigade, and soon the fire engine came, and 3 tall men in helmets brought a hose into the house, and Mr. Prothero got out just in time before they turned it on. Nobody could have had a noisier Christmas Eve. And when the firemen turned off the house and were standing in the wet, smoky room, Jim's aunt, Miss Prothero, came downstairs and peered at them. Jim and I waited very, very quietly to hear what she would say to them. She always said the right thing. Always. She looked at the 3 tall firemen in their shining helmets, standing among the smoke and cinders and dissolving snowballs, and she said, "Would you like anything to read?" Huh. That's that. That's the first bit. Maybe it's not enough to capture your imagination or to urge you on to pursue further, but I'll tell you, this is pretty good stuff. And really, now I'm getting a little older than I was 30 years ago, and I too, you bend over and you reach down into the snow, and I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to come out with. That's it. That's the whole deal. Okay. Anyway, here it is. It's a child's Christmas in Wales. Does that tickle your fancy? I hope so. Anyway, there you are. Maybe more later. We're not sure. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's me. Okay. Anyway, my name's Bruce. This is my channel. If you like this stuff, you can hit the subscribe button. If you don't like it, hit the subscribe button. If you don't like anything at all about this, smash the like button. Anyway, that's sort of, I guess that's what you're supposed to say. I'm not the world's greatest expert on this stuff. But anyway, have a good day, and if you really recall that little bit there, it's not about Christmas. It's not about Wales. That's it. Bye.